Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Today, we are coming to you live on USA Global TV and Radio, as well as E360 TV. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is a woman's prerogative. Today, we're going to talk about how to build wealth. What are some financial empowerment strategies that we can start building wealth, regardless of what our age, regardless of what our disposition. Welcome to the show. My co-host today, Caroline HEWARD. She is the Harley Street stress expert. She is very successful in and of her own right. And she also helps people bust their stress, which can be really aligned with finances as well as many other things. Let's welcome her to the program, joining us from the United Kingdom. Caroline, come on out. Hello.
Woo-hoo. Thank you very much, Dr. JACALYN. Wonderful to be here on this very sunny day in the United Kingdom.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it's sunny there, because I know that you go through all kinds of iterations, I should say, with the weather, whereas here in Florida, it's usually sunny and it's usually hot.
I don't know what's worse, but
I
it's
love
good
it.
Here. That's why the British talk about the weather, because we're always going backwards and forwards to different things. That's our topic, the weather.
The weather. I know it is interesting, because whenever I have somebody from the UK, they are always talking about the weather. And I thought, okay, it's fine, because it's pretty much the same here. But I'm really excited that we're exploring this topic, because this is something that really causes a lot of anxiety in people's lives. And I know I've experienced it. It happens to us. Maybe some people it never happens to, but I think that probably in some way or another, even if you are very successful and you have a high net worth, you have to constantly keep producing and performing, or your assets have to keep producing, performing, so that you can continue to live that lifestyle.
Absolutely. It is, especially in our current change times, you know, people that were very successful and did have a lot of money and the industries were good and they were at the top of their game in terms of their finances and their famousness, have lost it all. And some people have had to really change what they're doing. So even now in today's world and our current change times, it's even more prevalent to be looking at how can we look at our own financial wealth.
And I want to share this with you, Caroline. I know you have Netflix there in the UK. I don't know if they have the same programs or not, but there's one that I watched over the weekend, and I believe the title is Broke. And it's about all-star athletes, people in the NBA, the National Basketball Association, the NFL, the NHL, and boxers, how they have a contract for a certain period of time and they are paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. And what the interview process showed for this show Broke on Netflix is that many times so many people are literally picking their pockets or asking to borrow money, and they keep showing up again and again, and these players give the money out, and they're used to living a certain lifestyle. They buy their mother a home, they buy their father a home, they buy them cars, and eventually they find themselves broke. Not only broke, but unable to find work, because what is it that they are able to do? They're athletes. So are they going to go sit at a desk job? What are they going to do? So they find themselves in a very dark place. And the other thing I wanted to share is that many of these athletes that were in this show, in this documentary, had come from poverty. And all of a sudden, they're catapulted into this other lifestyle. And they didn't have any financial advisors. Nobody told them you have to manage your money, that this, you might get one check or two checks. You might not be renewed on your contract and you don't have any money. So we see this all the time. And I know as a professional therapist and somebody who works with people, you see this on a regular basis as well. So let's take a step back and have you share a little bit about your work as the Harley Street stress expert. And then let's get into this show Broke and how this kind of thing happens.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Yes. Well, I help people literally, as Dr. Jacalyn has said, bust their stress. How do I do that? I literally help them with all manner of complaints. So if you are suffering with physical ache and pain, like back pain, neck pain, throat problems, infections, whatever it is that's physical, if it's mental, anxiety, depression, or stress, if it's emotional, sadness, loneliness, heartache, or if it's behavioral, like relationship issues, anger management, or something that like I can't think of the word now, behavioral, repetitive behavior patterns that are causing you stress. There will be a root cause, and I identify the root cause of what started that particular pattern of responding in the first place. So if you have regular eczema, for instance, there will be a reason why that happened in the first place. And through a really quick process, I help you work through and identify the root cause to prevent it reoccurring. And more importantly, it releases the emotions that started the ailment in the first place from the first time it happened. And I help people from all over the world, online and offline. So I offer a ridiculous 1 hour consultation for £50. That's 50 British pounds. And that's a ridiculous price right now. Please take advantage of that, because I'm not sure how long I can hold that offer. And I look forward to helping you bust your stress.
Fantastic. Thank you, Caroline. And for those joining for the first time, I've shared before that Caroline has helped me bust my stress, and I highly recommend that you reach out to Caroline. Caroline, going back to the documentary that I was speaking of, this was new information for me because I don't know any athletes like that, professional athletes. And you see them with they talked a lot about this, the bling, the chains that they have, and they've got all these cars. And when they asked them why they did it, they got caught up in keeping up with the Joneses, or trying to be one step ahead of the guy on their team. What is that called?
Well, you've just actually mentioned it, keeping up with the Joneses. There is, so that's a Britishism that we say. I don't know whether that's the same in the US, but we kind of say that in order to look good, you have to have certain things, so cars, the mansion, the holidays. And in order to fit in, or if we are very aligned to wanting to fit in and look a part of everything, that we do everything that everybody else is doing. And that might not be in alignment with who we truly are in our personal being. So if you are keeping up with the Joneses, literally furnishing yourself with everything that all the other players are doing, then you're going against what's real for you. And although it might be right for somebody else, it will cause you harm, because why are you doing that? It's for appearances and not for self-worth.
Thank you, Caroline. The other thing that really stood out to me in the documentary was I know we call it football here, and I think it's soccer there. Do you actually have football with the pigskin?
No, we don't. But
Okay.
For us, it's football. I think oh, I see. There are two different things, isn't there? There is soccer and football. I don't know what the difference is.
Well, we have football and we also have soccer, but I think football for you is actually soccer. But anyway, my point being that these players, football players, for example, they are literally putting their health, their mental well-being at risk every time they step on the field, and they get knocked down and hammered and pounded. And a few of the players were talking about the fact that they have headaches constantly. And they also shared that when they're playing in the game and they get knocked down, they give them injections, like cortisone injections, to get back into the game. I'm just paraphrasing. And their bodies are so broken down, and so are their minds, that when the money's gone, they have this incredible opportunity to look at who they are and where they are in life. And here they are at the top of the game, people's, all the celebrities wanting to hang out with them. Now they're broke, their body's busted, they're mentally, traumatized, and they're out of work.
It's sad. It really is. And it's true. It is absolutely a truism. I'm interested and have an interest in all types of celebrities and famous people, and the sports personalities are another type of celebrity, as well as pop stars, film stars. And it's the same. It's a similar story for all sorts of celebrities that are in the limelight, that have money, that have fame, but inside they're not truly being themselves. So they're very, very unhappy. And because they're not being their true selves, this is what's causing all the craziness for them in terms of their physical, mental, emotional well-being. And yes, when they have nothing, then they are reduced to looking at what truly is there versus what all the money has bought. And a lot of them will buy things to feel good, but it doesn't give them the feeling that they want. And that's the challenge, because they're being there for everyone else and showing up for everyone else, but not being there for themselves. And so they lose who they really are along their journey of fame and fortune. And many, many celebrities fall into going to look at themselves and fall into depressions, fall into anxiety. There's so many stories about, really, really famous and well-regarded celebrities and pop stars, film stars, and sports people that have got the same thing going on. So money doesn't buy you happiness, and it buys you things. And when you have money, there is a risk, and I say that in inverted air commas, there is a risk that you think that things make you happy, that actually you make you happy in the way that you feel in your everyday.
Excellent points. Thank you, Caroline. You and I both worked in corporate, and we both know what it's like to get a paycheck every week, every other week, once a month, whatever it is. We both know what it's like to have benefits, to have an expense account, and then you go out on your own, you're like, whoa, this is a completely different world. And at the same time, I know people who work in industries, at least here in the States, that are completely commission based. So they don't get a salary. They get, do this, earn this money and you get the big paycheck. And then they have to know how to balance that because they might not have another check. So it could be insurance, it could be real estate, and many people go broke the same way. So one of the things I want to talk about today is we're talking about financial empowerment strategies for women to build wealth. Women typically, I'm generalizing, I'm using air quotes, I'm saying some, have issues with money, with knowing their own value and their own worth. Can you talk to us more about this?
Yes. And I believe that the reason for this, Dr. Jacalyn, is that women came to the workplace much, much later on. After the war, especially in Europe, after the war, there were many women before the war that were at home. And while the war was going on, they went to work because the menfolk were in the war. So they had to go to work. And then after the war, there was more women that went to work and less women having families. And so the women have come into the workplace almost as a secondary opportunity. It was actually built, the structures were built for the masculine energy. And so it's a very masculine arena for a woman to go into. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, because it was populated mainly by men, and then the women came into the workplace when the opportunity arose, it almost felt like they were on the back foot. And indeed, they have been on the back foot ever since. And so there's been a lot of conversation and controversy about the women in the boardroom, perhaps not being seen in the boardroom in as many companies as would be liked. And I've certainly worked in organisations and worked in the city in London where women weren't even in the liveries, and I had a lot to do with the livery organisations where you got your awards and your fellowships of industries that you were in. And in the livery companies in the city, there were very few women. They were like sort of on the sideline, the partner of the person that was in the livery. And so these things it's like sort of almost set in stone, and there's been a fight because women were supposed to be at home creating a family and looking after the family. And so they are on the back foot in terms of if they've decided not to have a family or be in a relationship and look after the home in the way that we were supposed to in the 60s. This is where the challenges are. And so they're going into the workplace, and because it's a masculine energy and the men rule the roost essentially in the organizations, because it is masculine in structure and in hierarchy, it creates a challenge for women to actually step into their feminine energy. So women are going into a masculine organization and setup in their feminine energy. And so there is a conflict of energies. So many women that are successful have to step into their masculine energy to get anywhere and to do well and to be seen and to compete. And usually that's quite a competition in the masculine world.
I love what you shared here, and it's really spot on. And you and I have had conversations about how we have been in our masculine energy. I think I'm in the male energy 24/7, actually. But you really do get a lot done. The one thing I have to say about that is I think that it takes a toll in that keeping your energy up like this, something else has to suffer. And I don't know if you can do everything in the masculine energy, because I think we do need that feminine energy as well. But I'd love to have you share a little bit about where are the scales on that in terms of masculine versus feminine energy. Is it 50-50? Because I know I'm, somewhere else.
Well, we're individual people, Dr. Jacalyn. We are what we are, and it's not that we should be all feminine or all masculine, because none of us would get anything done. The men, if they're only in their masculine energy, their relationships are terrible. And their emotions, and their emotions are all over the place, like not there. They're very head-spaced people. So it's not about one being right and the other being wrong. And it's not about being equal. It's about being right for the time and the opportunity and the thing that's being done. So for instance, if I'm doing my accounts paperwork, I have to be in my masculine energy that's very logical, very focused, very practical. and very, very in the mind in terms of going through systematically the receipts and the paperwork and the invoices and bringing it all together. Now, if I was in my feminine energy, I'd be all emotional and I would not get anything done. So I have to kind of step into my masculine energy. Now, that's not wrong. That's just understanding that it's horses for courses, as our Britishism would say, that it's about moving into the different energies, being able to move into the masculine energy to get something done, and then to be able to step back into the feminine energy when we want to go into a place of nurturing or emotion. And it's not about the pampering, the massages and the getting the nails done, although we see that as the feminine energy. It's more about allowing ourselves to be in the emotional body. And sometimes it's good to be in the emotions. For instance, if there's been a bereavement, if there's sickness in the family, if there's something that needs to have that compassionate approach in business. It could be that, when you're in the successful industry and corporate world, and then you go home, it's appropriate to step into your feminine energy. Otherwise, the relationship just doesn't work if you're in an intimate relationship. And if you both come home in your masculine energy, sparks fly in the wrong way. And so then that relationship and intimacy chemistry doesn't work so well. And that's where there's a lot of divorces and a lot of people that are very unhappy in their relationships. So there is no right or wrong. There is only what feels right for what you're doing at the time. So I've mentioned my accounts. I have to be in my masculine energy, because if I was in my feminine energy, all my emotions would overspill and I'd never get anything done. And then at the same time, I can be watching a movie and feeling a bit emotional and feel a release of tears. If there's like a scene that, somebody's going through a breakup or somebody's dying, I tend to be in tears. And if I listen to somebody, a young child that's gone on to a show, a talent show, and they've singing like sort of for all England and they sound amazing, I will actually shed tears with it. I'll be emotional at what I've heard, and that's been in the feminine energy. So it's about understanding which energy is right for whatever you're doing.
There were some major gems that you just shared right there, Caroline. Thank you so much. And again, for people joining us, Caroline is a therapist. She is available to help you bust your stress as well as confront your demons and really acknowledge how is it that you can move forward. So today we're talking about financial empowerment, and we were talking just a moment ago about emotions. And people's net worth can go up and down. When it goes down, there's a lot of emotion. And when it goes up, there's a lot of emotion. How do we keep ourselves focused so that the emotion itself, whatever that emotion might be, doesn't impede our ability to build wealth?
Well, that's a really great question.
It's a big one, I know.
What I will share with you is that if you are feeling not good, if you're on what I would say is an off day or a bad day, or a day where you're just not feeling with it, it's no good speaking to a potential client or somebody who is going to give you a potential contract, because you're going to shoot yourself in the foot with it. So it's about having your vibration high and in a frequency that is of gratitude and plenty. If you are in a space of scarcity and need, the other person feels it. Believe you me, they feel it. Even if you pick up the phone, and if it's not on a video and you're picking up the phone, you will hear someone smile, and you will hear when they are in scarcity or in fear. And if I'm having one of those off days, everything's gone wrong, I've got out of bed and I've stubbed my toe, and then the plumbing's not working. If something like that has happened, and we all have our bad days or our off days where, we've got things to get done and like something comes in and we just have to stop everything. That's when we can either get into the practical space or we get into the emotional space. Now, when you are looking at developing wealth, it is important to go in with that openness of gratitude in the heart center, and to be open to to see things. So if your vibration is low, and we are all frequency, everything is frequency. So if you're in fear, that's a very low frequency, and you're never going to attract any abundance at all in any aspect of your life. But if you are in a higher frequency, in gratitude, grateful for everything you have, and almost in a, well, it hasn't come through yet, you know, and you're still doing things, because it is about moving forward in the actions of what you're doing. And if you keep doing things to move yourself forward in your financial abundance, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It might not come from the activity that you were doing in one area, it might come through in a different area. It's about moving forward with different things, because the money comes through in different ways. And don't be surprised if it doesn't come through in the work that you've done, because it could just come in from somewhere that you've not even done any work or conversation, because it's about inputs and outputs. And the more you put out, the more that comes in.
So well stated. And don't we love it when money comes in from somewhere that we didn't expect? I always say we have all these plans, and then God's laughing because we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then life goes in a different direction. Building wealth, to me, one of the core staples is passive income. So you're earning income while you're sleeping. You're earning income right now while you're doing this show. And there are many ways to earn passive income, but sometimes it involves taking a risk. And many people, air quotes again, they have different tolerances for risk. Now, there's also some ways to earn money which are tried and true. I've struggled with them, which passive income, for example, is online courses or selling books. I'm not getting rich anytime soon selling books or doing online courses, but yet I truly believed, wow, this is fantastic. And then I had to analyze, why is it that I'm doing courses, or why am I writing these books? And it's really for the joy of it. It's really to educate people. But if I was to get rich from doing it, that would be okay. So when I think of earning passive income, to me, a great way to earn passive income is real estate. Now, real estate, you have to have a certain minimum amount of money to invest, but you also have to make sure the properties are maintained well and that you're making the right decisions. And it's not something that's for everyone. Caroline, what can you think of, and I'm putting you on the spot here, but what can you think of that would be another alternative for earning passive income?
Well, this is something that I've been thinking about, and people put all sorts of suggestions out, and there's all kinds of things that are available that you can do. And again, it's about what's right for you. And I've tried lots of different things over the years. And some of the things that I've tried are network marketing, and I've never gained any money there. It's taken my attention away from my own business, and then it's put all my attention into the hands of someone else's business. And they've never really worked for me. And yet some people do really, really well from network marketing. I'm not saying it's not a good thing. It's about being right for you. And from my perspective, yes, real estate is amazing, and there is a lot of potential there. And again, it's good for some and not for others. There's a lot of changes in the laws and the regulations, certainly in the UK, where it's not become tax efficient at all. In fact, it's become a tax burden for a lot of people that have more than one property and that are selling buy to let. But there are still people that I know that are making good money. So it's about the strategies that you're using. There's many people that have used things like Bitcoin, and some people have done very well from it, and some people have had their fingers burnt. And I must admit, it's not something that has interested me, because again, it's taken me away from my skill. And my honest answer to that is I feel that to stay in your skill area and to give freely what you do well in your skill area, and then the other ways will come forward. And that's what's happened here. You know, I feel that in giving my skill, that the tech, the broadcasting channel has come to me and offered me that opportunity. Now, I'm not making tons of money because I have I'm not in charge of the channel, but that is one way that, having a YouTube channel and having sponsorship and advertising and people having a vested interest in the channel, that will actually create income while you're sleeping. And other ways that I've actually looked at myself and going down the route of is that my pensions and ISAs, I put all together, and I have a wonderful, wonderful, incredibly whizzy man that's a financial whiz guru. And he's been looking after my pension pot. And every time I think there's very little in there, he does something magical, and he's trading it pretty much, I would say, on a daily basis. And so what I'm saying here is that we don't have to have the skills ourselves. We can actually put our trust in someone that we do trust, that has track record, and he's looking after my pension pot in a really good way, and it's growing, and I keep drawing out and he keeps growing it, and it's working really well. But I feel that if you're passionate about something, then the money will come. So if you give freely, if you're chasing money, money doesn't come. But if you're moving in a place where you are passionate about what you do, others will see your wealth, and then others will come in and support you with what you're doing, and the wealth will come. And that's my perspective. And so I've never chased money prospectively. I've always looked at giving the best that I possibly can for people and knowing that the money will come, because it does. And it comes in the space of what you're ready for.
And thank you for your transparency about your own situation. And we should mention, because it's phenomenal, that you own your own home. And
Yes.
that is something that many people in the world will never have an opportunity to do. Give us a little bit of a backstory, because that is a huge accomplishment.
Oh, thank you. Yes, well, when I first bought my London property back in 2008, and it was just literally about a month before the huge financial crash, and I didn't have anything on the timing. I had to move when I did, because I was in a rented property as a little go-between before I bought my property. And when I bought it in 2008, I sat in the middle of the living room on my sofa, and there was pitch black windows because it was really dark. There was no curtains or anything. And I remember saying to myself, wow, I did this. I created this. Now I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be mortgage free before I am 60. So I promised myself, there was an intention. Now I've got my property. It was a huge, huge, silly mortgage in the middle of London, in the city. And I thought, well, now what am I going to do with this is I'm going to become mortgage free. And I knew that it meant leaving London. And I knew from that time that I always wanted to live near the sea. So it was a decision, and it was an intention that I had set all those years ago, that that's what I was going to do. And even though the markets were coming down, I did have this hold on wanting to stay there. I didn't want to leave London. I got a lot of life there. And it was taken away because the world changed in March 2020. And I still kept persevering. And then when I let go of the outcome of where, I landed up finding the property, the home. I landed up finding everything that I was looking for, and I let go of exactly where, and I found the property I was looking for. It's not near a beach, and so I haven't been flooded, and that's the other silver lining. But one of the things that happened, it had to go in sync. So it had to be selling my London property and buying, and it had to all happen on the same day. And there was a couple of false starts. It should have happened when I was 59, on the weekend of my 59th birthday. It actually happened 1 month later, 1 month and 1 day later. It was the 26th of May. So it was exactly 1 month later. And I pushed and pushed because I wanted to move that into reality. And I worked with people, and I championed people to the goal of me becoming mortgage free, me having my home, them having the commission that they would get, and me having the home that I wanted. So it was it was absolutely a set goal of intentions, and I did everything, all the actions to make it work. And the day that I became mortgage free, I literally cried with joy. The money came in and the money went out. But what happened was the fact that there was no Mr. Bank of England asking me for more money.
It's incredible that what your experiences that you've had, and the fact that you're able to take your own experiences and be such a good listener and advisor for others. And that's the next topic I wanted to bring up. You talked before, and I'm going to say here in the States, financial advisor. That was also in the Broke documentary, that a number of these players did reach out to a financial advisor, someone who was licensed to manage their money, and they actually themselves had no money and lost their money. So you have to be careful who it is you're investing with. But my next topic is mentorship. And the reason I bring this up is, as women, we support, you and I support other women. And when we see a woman who is leading themselves down a path maybe of not seeing the whole picture or being so excited about something. I've been like that. I'm so excited. I don't even look at, well, does this even make sense? I'm just going with it because my heart says to go with it. So what can you share about mentors when it comes to helping women build wealth? They don't even have to have a background in finances, but we can save each other a lot of money by pointing out our own learnings from our own experience.
It's very true. And I would say a lot of the financial wealth people have, it starts with mindset. Because you can have some great strategies, but if your mind is in the wrong place, if you're thinking money doesn't grow on trees, money's hard to earn, it takes a lot of time to build wealth. If you have all these negative strategies, negative thoughts and beliefs, then this will perpetuate in your strategies and won't bring you the wealth that you want. Because if you're saying things like people that are rich are no good, you're then casting a negative belief in terms of your wealth, your potential wealth. So I feel, and I've spoken to many people, being mentored by others, and I mentor myself, other people, in terms of it's not about the strategy alone, because there are many strategies that we can apply. It's more about your own internal representation of your belief system around money. And if you have a poor money belief system, if you feel that you'll only just get by, you're living from paycheck to paycheck, then you will only be that way. If you just have enough and you get by every month and you just cover what you need, that's what will happen. And there has to be something that interjects that to change how you respond to opportunities, and when they do present themselves, how you actually interact in terms of how you move forward from your belief system. Because even if you have all the money, and many people have won like big lottery wins, and they've lost it all within months, and that's because they have a poor money belief structure. So I firmly believe it starts with your beliefs around money, your attitude around money, and also if you invest wisely. And rather than on this get-rich-quick scheme, actually looking at the background of the person that you're investing with in terms of your mentoring and your finances. You know, I actually invested with somebody that he's actually on all the TV programs, and he predicted the depression and the breakdown of the economy in 2008, where everybody else was talking up the economy. He was telling everyone that there was going to be a complete recession and a complete breakdown in the economy, and that's what happened. And so there's absolutely has to be a trust, and there has to be somebody that you can go to for those money type of strategies. And you've also got to find out what their money beliefs are, what their thoughts behind money is before you go investing.
Absolutely spot on. There's like 50 more things I want to ask you about, but I will bring up this one item as we're running out of time. And you and I both know about the power of listening, the power of elevated listening, because we do the Listening Mentor TV show together and we're real advocates for listening. Many times in relationships, when couples have different ideas about money, woo, it can get heated. And one person is no longer listening because all they know is the two of us are on the bank account together and the money keeps going out and going out because you keep spending it. You keep spending it. I have to keep spending it because we need this and that. I don't want to hear it. I earn the money. You're spending the money, back and forth, and no one's listening. So when we think about strategies to build wealth, what is it that we should do if we have a partner who doesn't believe in that strategy? They believe in living for the day.
That's very challenging. Many relationships have fallen apart for this very reason. And if you don't have agreements, the person that's the saver will always feel very, very challenged with the person that's spending. And there isn't an answer for it, really, only compromise, so that you both come together and find a way to work together to make it work. And if you are the spender and you're married to a saver, they will always feel very unhappy about you spending anything, and they will keep spreadsheets of what you're spending. And it also becomes controlling as well. Now, if you're a spender, for instance, you will have the opposite approach. The money's in the account, so you will spend it. And there is a little bit of therapy in that. You know, we call it retail therapy. And there is a buzz, a dopamine fix that you will get when you are spending money. And so it's not a good thing to be in that situation, because many marriages do break up because of money, and sometimes they go even beyond the fact of what the couple have got, and they will spend more than. So they will get loans and overdrafts and credit cards, and this is where it causes much more of a challenge. So it is important, I feel, from the perspective of if you are with a spender or a saver and there's the two opposites, to have conversations about money, to have conversations about where you both sit with it and what the budget is for you to spend. And it is about looking at the spreadsheet, if the saver will have a spreadsheet, and to have honest time together to look at the finances and what's right for you to move forward as a couple. And if you don't have those conversations, there is bitter anarchy between both of you because of the money.
Is it possible to overcome that anarchy or that anger?
If you come together and have that conversation, not from a place of anger or frustration, but from a place of listening to both sides and then coming to some levels of compromise.
Caroline, you are a bright light, shining awareness on how we can build wealth. I know you're going to be coming back for part 2 of this wonderful show, and you will be leading it with Mariska, who has confirmed that she will be with us. So for people who are meeting for the first time, they're thinking, you know what, I love what I'm hearing. I really want to work with Caroline. Is this a long-term commitment to work with you? What does that process look like, the process of engagement to work with Caroline here at the Harley Street Stress Expert?
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Well, I do one-off sessions just to look at something that's coming up for you, but more ideal, it's much better to look long-term, say a month's package or a 3-month package, so we can look at all aspects of your life. And we do 1-hour sessions, either on online or indeed any other way over the telephone or any other medium such as Messenger. So I'm very open, especially as my audience is international. And we will look at your life because everything is integrated and everything is interrelated. So if there's a financial issue, there'll be something else going on in your life that you've not handled. If there's a physical ache and pain, it also is related to unexpressed emotions. And although I'm pretty good in a 1-hour session, it's important to know that I can't fix everything in one session. and it's too much to do in an hour or an hour and a half. So it's much easier to book a block of a month's sessions or a 3-month package, ideally, to look at all of you, because you will be evolving through the program of changing what's not working. And I look forward to helping you bust your stress.
Bust your stress, bust your stress. Thank you, Caroline. And by the way, Dr. Justina MUTALE is on holiday today, so we'll look forward to having her back, as well as Dr. Chan. Caroline, thank you for all of your time, for all of your expertise, and for just being so loyal and so dependable. I really do appreciate it. And I look forward to you hosting this show in just a couple of hours.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Everyone out there, whether you're watching on the live or the replay, please do go over to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio, and subscribe. I have been really just so heartwarmed to see how many people have subscribed to our channel in the last couple of weeks. The numbers just keep going up. So we are noticing, we do read the comments. And again, we love having you on our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio. For those of you watching on other platforms, we love that too. It's just YouTube gives us real numbers that we can really see who's watching, where they're watching from, and how long they're watching, which really helps us as we grow our platform. If you've got a Roku TV or an Amazon Fire TV, please do download our app, USA Global TV and Radio. Also download E360 TV, as they're on there as well, and we're on their platforms. And starting this week, we are on Zizzle TV. So if you're over on Roku or Amazon or Apple, you can download the Zizzle app and you can see our shows there, as well as on 300 other platforms. All right, thank you so much. We are going to hear from some of our sponsors right now. We love our sponsors. We really appreciate it. I'm going to start off with a testimonial for a gentleman who just joined our team recently. His name is Naveen, and he's a handwriting expert, which is also called Graphotherapy. Let's hear what his client had to say.
Naveen Toshnawal is an exceptional graphotherapy specialist. The idea behind the specialty is that during the actual writing process, we're expressing ourselves. That may sound like an oversimplification, but the point is that it is not just content or thinking that comes out onto the paper, but our subconscious slips messages through this action. Our emotions can be tricky. The first step in the process is to submit a sample for writing, a sample of writing for analysis. Naveen displays not only specialized knowledge in his analysis, but also great tact. It's a very personal process. Subsequently, an easy series of therapeutic writings, customized for specific goals, ensues for 3 weeks, requiring only 5 minutes per day. And if you can't find 5 minutes per day, then I don't know what to say. I think you can. He maintains a patient and optimistic temperament by nature. He and the therapy helped me to define my long-term goals. As well, some hidden negative emotions were resolved through the easy therapy with great relief. Graphotherapy permitted insight into my subconscious, along with reflection and inner growth, even healing from the past. I'm a firm believer in psychological counseling type therapy. Working through sad events with a professional helps all of us to find more peace and become our best selves. My favorite quote from Naveen cuts through the process of talk therapy like a hot knife through butter. He says, it doesn't matter what or who you resent. Resentment holds you back. Just let go of it. Now, without spending hours and hours talking about the content or the reasons behind negative emotion, this graphotherapy process purged it, my heart is lighter and I have more focus. I highly recommend Naveen Tushnawal and Graphotherapy.
This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecarruth.com, ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.